Hey everyone, it's Adam Ward, and this is video number 2 in the custom domain mapping series for the ENv2 blogging platform. If you need to map a subdomain, if you need to map your new Empower Network blog to a subdomain in a pre-existing website, then video 1 is for you. So video 2 is for the person who uh, just got their Empower Network blog and they want to map that to a fresh domain name that they may have just purchased that isn't hosted, and they just want to use that domain name to map to their Empower Network blog. The other thing that you can do with this video is also create multiple mappings. So for instance, Empower Network has no limit on the amount of domain names that you can buy and map individual blogs to. So you can maintain niche blogs completely separate to themselves, meaning that you don't have to have just one blog with a bunch of different niche categories. Much like if you take a look at this, my original Empower Network blog, here are a bunch of niche categories, right? So I'm going to show you how to map to a domain name for a particular niche that you might have, or a domain that you're using specifically for the Empower Network. So the first thing we want to do, if you missed how to log in and get to this point where we're customizing, go back and watch the first part of video number 1. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to drop that plus button down and we're going to click Add New Blog right up here in the top right. So the friendly blog name is going to be the name that's going to appear up here. Okay, so you see that I've added a few, and I'm going to add another one right now. So I love wine, and I just bought a domain name called Adam on Wine, kind of a play on words there too. So I'm going to put that here. Let's see, is that working there? There we go. So you can see that it created a subdomain. So the first subdomain that you need to understand is, now that Empower Network has created this multiple domain mapping feature, they map one-to-one. So meaning that there's a subdomain created on Empower Network, and that's mapped either to a subdomain on a custom URL, or you can map that Empower Network subdomain to a root domain. And what I mean by root domain is, you see up here it says empower.adamwardonline.com. Well, Empower is a subdomain of Adam Ward Online. That's my mapped subdomain to Adam Ward Online. But if I wanted to map to a root domain, that would mean that there's nothing else on that website, it's not being hosted, and I just want to map my Empower Network blog directly to the root domain, which would be www.adamwardonline, or whatever website you have. So that's the difference between a subdomain and a root domain. So I know that might sound a little bit confusing, but just follow along and you'll be fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove these dashes just because I want to, and you don't, whatever you want to do here is fine. So that's going to be the actual subdomain off of Empower Network, which again has nothing to do with the actual domain that you're going to map it to. But it's good if you keep the names, congruent and consistent with each other. So you'll see that there'll be an availability check over here. So if this was taken, don't worry about it. Just create something else. Maybe put some dashes in there, because it's not going to have any effect on the actual mapping to the domain name that you purchased that you want to map to. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is we want to go ahead and click the next button. Okay, so here's what happens. Once you've created that, you see adamonwine.empowernetwork.com, we are going to map this directly to adamonwine.com, right? But it takes a little while for this to get going. The word is propagate. There's basically a domain name system that it needs to propagate to, and it's going to take a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let's go back to let's just go home here, and I'm going to go back and show you another domain that I created. So here's another niche blog that I've created. It's called Atom on Cars, right? So you can see right now that Adam Ward, where is it? Adam on Wine. If I click on that, see how it's not ready yet? Okay. So for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to use Adam on Cars because I just did this one last night and I haven't set anything up on it yet. So when I click on that, you'll see that all of the standard banners come up and everything's pre-configured, set up, ready to go for you to customize, right? So and I'll show you actually, before we do that, I created this one 2 days ago, and it's called iMarketMojo. I've created a custom header on that. So let me just click on that. You can see that I created a custom header, just threw something up there just to show you. So this is, again, this is a completely separate blog, completely separate from everything else that I'm doing. So you can see the subdomain here where it's imarketmojo.empowernetwork.com. Now I've successfully mapped that to the root domain of imarketmojo.com. Right? So if you navigate someone to that website, you'll see that this shows up. So this is a true mapping, right? And it'll work either way, whether you put the W's in front or whether you don't. I'm going to show you an important thing that you need to do on the domain side, on your host side, to make sure that that works both ways. Okay, so back to, not there and not there. Lost myself here. Where are we going? Okay, well, let's just click the plus button. I'm going to drop that down and we're going to go back to Atom on Cars because this one is not set up yet. Okay, so here we are, Atom on Cars. We're going to drop the plus button down, and now we're going to go back to that custom domain area that I covered in lesson number 1, tutorial number 1. But we're going to do something just a little bit different here. So now it says enter the domain you plan on using. Well, the domain I bought was atomoncars.com. Right? So see that it's available. So when I click next, it's going to again give me a CNAME and a CNAME value. So now we're going to take this information over to our web host, and I use GoDaddy. So did it log me out? I think it did. Okay, so let me log back in here. 1 second, uno momento. Por favor. Okay. Okay, so now we're logged in. Under your name, you click Visit My Account. Okay, and then you're going to click the green launch button under Domains. I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible now. Find your domain. You may have a ton, you may have one. So whichever one it is, just click on it. There it is, Atom on Cars. Okay, and it's going to take you to this screen. Again, you'll click on the DNS Zone File tab and click Edit. Okay, again, we're going to be working in the CNAME area. So the last one down here, where the actual host is showing www, you want to use this particular CNAME entry, and you want to click on it to get it to edit it, and then get on the right side here where you want it to point to, and that's where you're going to put your CNAME value, which is this one right here. It's the actual website domain that was created by Empower Network for that particular blog. So you want to copy that again. Once again, note: do not copy that period in there. It won't work if you have that period on the end. Maybe with some other host it does, but with GoDaddy it doesn't. So I've got so many windows open here, it's crazy. Okay, where is it? There we go. So back here, and so now I'm going to paste that CNAME value in there, and now I'm going to go up here and click Save Zone File. Okay, click OK. So now it says these changes usually take an hour. However, it may take up to 48 hours to take effect. So don't get frustrated and don't get disappointed if it doesn't happen right away, or if you come back a couple hours and it still doesn't work, be patient. Web hosts, vary. So the last thing that we need to do here before we go ahead and validate that URL mapping on the Empower Network side is we need to go back to the dashboard here. So click on Dashboard up here, and it's going to take us back to all of our domain names. So actually, I'm sorry. Let's go back to. Is that going to work from here? Let's see. Edit zone. No. Okay. So easy thing to do when you get lost is go back to your account. Click domains. It's the second time I got lost there. Atom on cars, or whatever your domain is. This is the screen that you want to get back to, domain details. I probably could have clicked domains and then maybe all domains, I don't know. Anyway, so this is where you want to be. And now you want to be on the settings tab. And you want to go down to forwarding here. You see how it says off right now? So you want to click on manage there under the domain, not a subdomain, okay? Under the domain. Click manage, and then you want to add a domain that you're going to forward. Now understand that this is not to mask, right? So what we're doing is we're actually making sure that, remember I told you that whether someone types in the root domain without the www or whether they put the www in, that it's going to work. Well, this is where you're going to make sure of that, right? So this is where you want to put right there www dot and then whatever your domain name is. Okay, and you want to leave this as permanent, this to forward only. Update the name servers and click add and save. Okay, so you're done in on the domain side. So we need to go back to your Empower Network blog that you created, right? And you want to click Verify Custom Domain. So you can see now that it hasn't propagated yet. See? Sorry, we couldn't verify Atom on cars. So just wait and come back, right? So what's going to happen is, let me show you, let's see, let's go to iMarketMojo, and you can see right here, if we drop that down under custom domain, once it's, let me remove this so you can see what I'm talking about there. Actually, it's not going to let me remove. So in other words, once you click that verify custom domain and it's ready to go, it'll give you a check mark like this and it'll say that it's forwarding correctly. So that's how you, that's all there is to it. So let me show you just something to underscore why this is important, and I covered this in video number 1. If we go to that iMarketMojo website, I did put a blog post there, one platform, multiple blogs. So if I click on that, and that takes me into the specific blog post, you can see how it's mapped up here. That's a true mapping, right? So this is what's going to show up for SEO purposes, right? It's going to have your root domain, right? It's going to have the word blog as a subdirectory, and then it's going to have your subject header there for SEO purposes. So that's why this is so powerful and so important for everyone to understand that this is not just simply a domain masking or forwarding. This is a true mapping. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.